Here are a couple things to look out for when you're matching shots. Matching shots in the color phase is probably one of the hardest jobs that a colorist can have. Even something that is shot really well with consistent lighting still needs a little bit of work to make the shots match perfectly. The biggest thing to remember when you're matching shots is to think about where the subject is, because you always want at least your subject to match. So here, our subject is Gwen and Isaac. Here, our subject is Isaac. It's more important that he matches in between these two shots than, say, the window or the walls or the cushions, because that's where we're all going to be looking. So if you can get the subject to match, that's going to go a long way. The other thing to look for are common things in between the shots. So this purple blanket is in all of the shots, and that purple should look pretty close. You could probably make the argument that this purple is a little desaturated, but it doesn't feel so wildly different that it throws you off. Sometimes you'll have a shot like this where it just looks way too purple, and here it's really desaturated, and here it's just bright purple, and that's not going to work. So you got to think of what is common in between the shots and that looks pretty consistent. Same thing with this backpack. This backpack is bright red in this shot and not so much in this shot. This is something that we can fix with some fancy techniques, but the overall feeling of the shot seems like it pretty much works and it doesn't throw you off. And that's really my last tip is don't overthink it. If you switch in between a couple shots and it doesn't feel offensive, don't go back and second guess it. Just live with it for now, because you might come back to this later and go, oh yeah, actually this needs to be a little warmer. This needs to be a little cooler, and you can figure it out. But like we've been talking about, your eyes will get used to something and you can kind of get snowblind and not see the big differences in between the shots. So it's good to always kind of keep moving. If you're working on one shot, always flip to another shot to kind of reset your eyes and then switch back. That will really, really help. The other thing that you can do is look up where things are at on the scopes. The scopes for this shot should, at least for how dark and light things are, should look very similar to a shot like this. We have this bright lamp, but things like the window and the kind of tone of most of the image, the window's like around 768 and the tone is sort of 512, 640, somewhere in there. And same thing here, the window's around 768 and the rest of the shot is, around the middle. And that's kind of what we're looking for in our entire scene. So there are some tips for troubleshooting matching shots.